how we focused when we did training with the physicians or anyone who was getting the patients on the skincare line. This is how we focused them on how to get the patients on the correct product, and it really translates seamlessly into what we're doing now. When I sold capital equipment, it's the exact thing I did. When I had a $200,000 piece of equipment I needed to sell into a physician's office, I kept with the 3 C's, and I will tell you, it works every single time. It works when you get objections, it works when you get challenges, when you get them back in, the 3 C's work. So we're gonna go through this little presentation that Mary Claire and I put together, but also really have some conversations, because I know a lot of you have come up and talked to me about some questions or how to handle some sort of objections or questions that have come up from maybe your customers or that you've heard from your specialist. So I think this is a really good time to really kind of, you know, work it out here, so when you go back home, you can relate that to your team. So let's get started. Okay, so again, the 3 C's, write it down. It should just like be embedded in your mind, and it's concern, condition, commitment. Concern, condition, commitment. And I mean, just like memorize it, but as we go through this, it just makes sense. And as you start talking to customers and you start coaching your specialist on the best way to talk to customers, you'll easily go back to this because it helps keep you focused, right? Because there's so many ingredients and so many great things we can talk about with the Ever product line, right? And the thing that we don't want to do is kind of get derailed, because then our customer doesn't really know where we're going, right? So it really helps us as specialists stay focused for our customers, okay? So let's talk about concern. First and foremost, the first thing I always ask, always, is what is your biggest concern with your skin? First and foremost, what is your biggest concern?
Hey, real quick.
Yes.
If this is like a social and you're doing kind of your group hello, I would imagine maybe.
Okay, so this is
like, are you like asking the audience like start to think about it? Yeah.
Okay, so wait, this is different. Okay, this is different than like you're at a skincare social. So if I'm in a skincare social, right, and we've got all the products and I am addressing the group and kind of going through it, what I do is talk about very top line, what makes Ever different, the 4 key steps to beauty, right? Cleanse, exfoliate, correct, protect, moisturize, and then kind of go into the products. Then the best thing to do is, as a group, I say, you know, as we're gonna come up and talk to you individually, because some people don't want to talk about their skincare concerns amongst other people, they're just weird about that. But I will say something I want you to think about is really, what is your biggest concern with your skin? And we're gonna talk about that, and then we go from there. So that's what I have found works best. But like one-on-one or in Facebook messages, the first thing I always ask is, what is your biggest concern? And then always, no matter what they say, always, so you stay focused. You, oh, there's no pointer on here?
She was moving it on the right, I think.
Is there no pointer?
Is there like an imaginary?
So then I always talk about, what are you currently using to address these concerns? And this is so important for a few reasons. And this, again, is gonna help keep your customers focused. So again, what is your biggest skin concern? Oh, brown spots, texture, tone, right, all of the above, okay? My next thing I always say, and again, maybe I'm talking with Carrie. Carrie, that's great, okay, so you're concerned with pigmentation and uneven skin tone. What are you currently using to address those concerns?
Clinique.
Yeah, so let me tell you, the reason why this is so important is because you're gonna get everything under the sun. You're gonna get some people that say, well, I don't use anything, I use water. I mean, and I have had that. Okay, well, in my mind, immediately, their value perspective on cost for skincare is not someone that's immediately gonna buy a whole regimen, right? So we can just talk about a cleanser. So it kind of gets you in the right perspective, because if you talk about a whole regimen with that person that says, I use bar soap and water, they are gonna look at you like you are crazy and be like, what, I use bar soap. I mean, I spend no money on my face, which is why I have all the concerns, and now you're trying to tell me to spend $255. So that's not gonna work, right? So, but you can talk about the benefits of a cleanser, right, or a sunblock. So that's why you need to ask that question. Or you ask this question and you have somebody that says, oh, I use Obagi, and then I use this product, and I get a facial every 4 weeks, and I've had 4 Fraxels, and then I go get a like, they're doing a lot, right? I get these injections, okay. So now you hear somebody like that, you're like, okay, great. Their value perspective is very high. They see the value in investing in their skin. I can probably sell them every single product we have. Do you see what I'm saying? So there's those two extremes, and then there's everything in the middle. So, and what I have found, and it works every single time, is that this works. So I want to address a few things on how I bring this back to, because so many times people will say, well, that's great. I am using Throw Out a skincare line.
SkinMedica.
I am using SkinMedica. So Dana, you know what? I am using SkinMedica. How does Ever compare to SkinMedica? Do you guys hear that from customers or your specialists say, how does it compare? So one thing you do not want to do, because none of us have clinical data that's comparing Ever to SkinMedica, and by the way, there's no clinical data out there that compares skincare lines like head to head with each other. It's just too subjective, they can't do it. There's not. So what you want to talk about is, oh, that's great, you're using SkinMedica. What is your biggest skin concern? You'll tell you, okay, well, what are you currently using with SkinMedica to address that? Blah, blah, blah. Are you happy? Yeah, I'm happy. Okay, well then do you have like an eye cream? You see what I'm saying? So you go from there. If somebody also says, well, this is great. I use maybe something like, throw out another, I use Rodan and Fields. Everyone hears this, right? I use Rodan and Fields, so how does this compare? That's so great, I'm glad you use Rodan and Fields, that's awesome. Our product is different in that it's botanically derived, right? You very top line talk about Ever's branded top line message and bring it back to what is your concern with your skin? And what are you currently using to address that concern? So really, if you keep those two things, and I promise you I've had so much success with just sticking to this, as well as specialists on my team, because it keeps them focused, right? It keeps them so focused no matter what, because everyone's getting a, how does this compare to Nerium or whatever. So whatever product is thrown at you and how does this compare, right? You bring it back and, well, it is different in that our line is botanically derived, but our patented LSR10 is what makes it different than anything on the market. I mean, and you don't want to get too many words, you just want to say like as short as possible. And this is the thing, you can read directly from the product guide. So most of my specialists, I mean, I'm just like unique in the fact that I've been in medical aesthetics for a majority of my career, but the majority of us have not. And you certainly do not need this knowledge. Customers don't want to know all that, they just want to see pictures. They want to know that it works and there's a difference, and that if they don't like it, they can get their money back.
Do you ever, you said botanically derived, like I don't know that if I didn't know what that meant, like, you know, because I don't know that that means that that's free of, like, if somebody came up to me with Rodan and Fields, do you ever go into the fact that we don't have those chemicals that are questionable and that's a difference?
Well, I don't say questionable because sometimes people get like, oh, am I using something? So what I generally say is, you know, Ever is a botanically derived skincare line, free of harsh chemicals and prescription ingredients. We only include good for you ingredients. Let me show you before and afters of what Ever can do. Well, actually I say, what is your biggest skin concern? And then let me show you the pictures. And so what I find is when you keep it really short like that, you always have success. And I will tell you too, probably at least, I would say 85, almost maybe 90% of my sales are almost always a full regimen plus enhancers. It's very, very, very rare that a first-time customer that purchases from me, like, only purchases 1 or 2 products. Oh, and it's probably around 90%. It's because I really stick to this, and then I show the before and after pictures, and I never sample. And I have a lot of customers that don't even live in the same state as me, so I do really emphasize the fact, again, that we have a 45-day empty bottle money back guarantee, because that is really huge, because most people, again, right, might be going to Target or Nordstrom's or whatever, so you can't return that product. So, and I mentioned that. And one other thing that I want to quickly mention that I have found is working really well, and I think Danielle, you talked about this with the voice messaging. So I do that now all the time because I just found it. So if you know me, when I find something new, I have so much fun with it, and I just like figure out all the ways to use it. So I finally figured out you can use your voice recorder and like send the message, and there's also a voice recorder in Messenger. So now, when I have customers message me, you know, I'll ask about what their biggest concern is, and then they'll address, and I always leave a voice, like my voice talking back saying, okay, this is, you know, that's a great concern, this is what you can use, and it's gotten me sales. I think there's something, and I think that you're so right about that, when they hear your voice versus just text, you know, typing, that it really translates into being more personal. And
it's
so
personal and it's enthusiasm.
it's, yeah, it's
you know, I'm taking notes on what you're saying, just so you can say it. I'm not like checking my
oh, no. Yeah, well, that's not what I was
You looked at me funny. I'm like,
oh, no, I wasn't looking at you funny. Oh, because like, I feel like you weren't paying attention and I called you out. No, that's not what I was doing. I am so sorry. That was not my intention at all. It was just to give you props because I like how you talked about using the voice. So that's something that a few of my emerging leaders as well has really started using amongst our team. And so within our team, we're really finding some good success with leaving messages like that. And not necessarily on cell phones, because not everybody, you know, always, I don't ever listen to my cell phone messages really. But I do listen to them like via text or Messenger. Do you have a question?
oh, yeah.
Like, oh, sorry. Okay, all right, so moving on. And then again, sometimes you have to give people examples of what their concerns may be. So I love this slide. I have it, I send it to people. I keep all of that stuff on my iPad and on my phone. So you all have those presentations that it's in the file section, but I have an entire, and I'll show you on my iPad that I have it on my iPad and my phone, so it's always available to show people, and it really helps and makes a big difference. Okay, the next thing, this is so important. Ask the customer, this goes with condition. You need to ask the customer if they're currently using any prescription medication to treat a skin condition. You should just ask it, like, you don't need to like know all the details, but if somebody is using a topical Retin-A or tretinoin, you kind of want to know, because you're not going to want to, you know, sell them the overnight with retinol, right? So certainly ask. Okay, or if they go on to, or pregnant, yeah, pregnant, breastfeeding, you know, just things like that, okay? Do you guys have any questions, comments on that?
If they're taking oral, do we have any, we have no?
Well, it depends. So if somebody tells you, because there are, yes, because people could be taking oral Accutane, and you would not want them to go on a retinol. So if somebody is like that, you are going to say, you really need to refer to your dermatologist.
And they're usually under a dermatologist's care.
And they're in their dermatologist's care anyway, because probably if you're like either myself or Mary Claire, if they like list all these medications, you're gonna be like, what? But it's just important that you know if they list medications, just don't sell them the overnight, is basically all I'm getting at. Okay.
And really super quick, since you have knowledge on this, like say it's a teenager and they've got like the teenage acne and they are on like tretinoin, which is a topical.
Yes.
Can they still, like, you know how we recommend the
Rebalance
gel?
and the pouch.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Is that?
Oh yeah, so yes, and teenagers do really well
Yeah.
with the rebalance and the peel pad. So, and this is for anyone. So if somebody is on Retin-A, tretinoin is the generic form of branded Retin-A. So they're one and the same, by the way, okay? So, and that is a derivative of vitamin A as well as retinol, which is in our overnight serum. So if they're already on tretinoin or Retin-A, there's no need for the retinol because they already have that vitamin A derivative. If they're on tretinoin or Retin-A, they can certainly use any product within it. It's fine. Okay, and especially for a teenager with acne that's on Retin-A, a lot of times they're on Retin-A and then they're washing their face with like a cream Cetaphil, and that's what's causing even worse damage. So a lot of times it goes with the, what are you washing your face with? You know, sometimes too, I will tell you real quick, I had a girlfriend that I went to high school with reach out to me, and I posted this picture, y'all saw this. you know, a couple of months ago, and she was getting ready to be put on Accutane again as an adult, which by the way has a ton of side effects. But she wasn't washing her face with anything but Cetaphil, because so many times dermatologists do recommend it because it's gentle, but it can really clog pores and whatever. Needless to say, she started on the Ever Pure Results regimen, and within 5 days, there was such a significant difference. It's astounding. And I have a before and after picture, and needless to say, she didn't have to go on that prescription Accutane. So,
if they're taking my name, do you?
Topical or oral?
Topical, I think. I mean, the one that's gonna.
Topical.
About so much. Would you recommend the luminous cleanser or?
No. No.
You need
Okay,
the
so let's go.
antibiotic.
Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, luminous is if somebody's skin is just naturally dry, and you've got to be careful with luminous because it's really, really thick and overly hydrating. Their skin needs to be pretty dry, else down the road they might not get as great result as if they were just using the Rebound.
Dana, let's hold off on ingredients for
Okay,
now,
sorry.
because I know you're gonna get a lot of questions
I know,
because
sorry.
of your expertise in this area.
Okay.
And thank you for covering it. But I know that you're around the next 2 days as well, so we want to make sure that we have enough time to get into the simple sales training with Danielle. While
Okay.
Danielle's here with us as well a little bit, and continue to go through the rest of your presentation and bring it.
Okay, so we can answer more, and I'm sure though most of you have the same questions, so maybe if we could do it so I don't answer the same questions sometimes, like about product or something like that, if we could still find a time to do it in our group, that could help. Okay, so commitment, this is the final step and this is the most important, and you get that buy-in when you ask that question, the value question, what they're using, but this is the thing, budget, how many steps, value, what's your thoughts on a product or system. You can tell that when you ask, what are you currently using to address your X, Y, and Z skin concern, right? And one thing I always say is this, listen, what is your budget? If your budget is $100, I'm gonna help you really get the correct products to help you get right to your ultimate goal, to address that concern. And if you are always authentic and talking to your customers about it, right, they're gonna appreciate that and they're gonna continue coming back. But this is the other thing. I've also found, people saying, my budget's $100, Dana, I can only spend $100. Okay, well, let me just tell you, they always end up buying the whole regimen anyway. Right, and now with the loyalty program, that's even better because, right, they immediately save 10% and have free shipping there. So that's been a huge thing, okay? So we've got that, right? Okay, and then really just to keep it simple, with the 3 C's. It helps everybody stay focused. I always like to relate an Ever product back to their concern, right? That you say this is your concern, I am suggesting this because you're gonna have the benefit of addressing that concern, right? So back to like Sales 101 with features and benefits, and I know many of you probably don't have that sales training, but you just keep it simple, right? I mean, just in day-to-day life, we always think of features to benefits. And then I always ask for the business by providing a simple solution. And I always ask for a referral. Always. I never not have a conversation, either a live conversation, a text conversation, or an email conversation without asking, who else do you know that will want to hear about this? And I just keep it at that. Because I always get a name. And then like, I think I had a conference call about this too. And then when they do get their product, hey, listen, you know what? I'm launching my business, so it would really help me out so much if you can just take a simple picture of your product, post it on social media, and tag me. And I've gotten a lot of new customers just by that. So that's like an important key there. And then this is, see, I just say that, Carrie, like clinical grade. I just keep to what they already wrote because it's simple. Yeah. And then it's easier for me, like if specialists hear my words that I didn't, like that I keep to this, it's easier for them to then coach. Does that make sense? So if you keep, yeah, it's so easy to keep